Make sure to be a member on the channel, link is in the description. Hello guys, once again it's Matt and today we have another video. Today we're going to take a quick look on the radar of the F14 to make you a little bit more prepared on how to use it and what basically everything means, because it is kind of confusing. I did one of these videos back in the day when the MiG-23 MLD came, and yeah, it was a while back, so if you want to have to check that, but yeah, it's similar to the MiG-23. It has all sorts of modes and types of ways that you can actually scan people. So, and knowing this will probably help you be effective with this aircraft. Remember, even though it's a very good dogfight aircraft and one of the best, if not the best aircraft in the game in that pattern, uh, one of the main things is the radar and the radar guided ammunition. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about it. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to be a member if you want to help the channel, and click the little bell icon and let's get into it. So yeah, the F14, as you see, we are in the test flight here, just to show a little bit. It has the AWG 9 radar. It's called normally the AWG 9, but it's the AN slash AWG 9 engine, and yeah, it's a very old radar actually, but very powerful in megawatts, you know. So it becomes one of the main radars, and I mean, it's basically the F-14 was built around this radar and the Phoenix missile. It's a very advanced weapon for its time, but it is still a very old radar. You have to keep that in mind. It's not as advanced as the EJ Kai, for example, which is always a weird thing, but yeah, the EJ Kai has a more modern radar. It doesn't mean that it's a better radar, it's just a little bit more modern. In what I mean is the blind speeds, but let's get slowly. So first of all, let's talk about its modes, and then we talk about blind speeds and stuff like that. So as you see, we have four normal modes of search patterns. So we have the normal search mode, which just use continuous wave, normal radar kind of thing, you know. As you see, it has no pulse Doppler in this mode, of course, because it's just the normal radar mode that we have in the game. As you see, for example, I'm trying to detect the MiG-15 there, and you cannot because of the ground clutter. So these modes are normally more for kind of people that are flying high, and normally for people that are notching you basically. So yeah, it is useful. Don't get me wrong, but it is less useful than the other modes that I'm going to talk about. Jesus, I stuttered a lot there. But yeah, let's. There's not much to talk about. Of course, you have three types of scan modes: 130 degrees, 80, and 20. You know, so the less area you have, the quicker it is to actually identify a target there and um, just you know update where he is. So as you see, if you click the lock button, of course you go to tracking mode. So yeah, it's just a normal radar mode that most of the aircraft has. To be honest, the MiG-23 has a way better normal mode than these American stuff, because the way that they use is actually to use a normal mode and they kind of filter out the ground cluttering another way. I don't know exactly how it works, but they just use a normal mode that is very good at looking down. So yeah, normally the Americans don't do this. They normally go for pulse Doppler already since the 70s. So yeah, and of course you will have two dogfight modes. So this is kind of a bore sight mode. So yeah, you just point at where you want to lock, and a vertical mode. So this would be like you were turning and in a dogfight, and you just pointed the target on the square there, as you see, and it's going to go like a vertical bar sight kind of thing. It's for dogfight. So as you see, yeah, you can get, for example, um, an aim 7 really quickly with this. Let me do this. So yeah, you're just doing that, and then it's a lot quicker, and then you can fire the missile, for example, or even um, the the aim 9, for example. It goes a little bit quicker, as you see. Yeah, see. So you can fire a lot quicker than everything else. So this would be the bar sight mode. You just point to the target that you want, and this is a vertical mode for dogfights. Okay. Um, of course, all the modes will have both this bar sight and vertical, but I'm going to talk each one of them. The second mode that we have is the search mode, PDV. So basically this is the first pull stopper mode that we have, but it is very similar to the F4J mode. So remember, it doesn't have distance. So what you are seeing in here, it's not distance. Okay, this is relative velocity to you. Okay, so this like really large green area over here, it's the blind speed. It's not ground clutter, it's the blind speed. So basically what it means that above this area, the target will be approaching you at a certain speed. So for example, this would be 0, and this will be 7,380 kilometers per hour, as you see on the right side there. And this would be less than 0, so this is the blind speeds that the radar of the pulse Doppler cannot see the target. And this is the main thing that I talk about when I'm talking about the JK having a more advanced radar than this. It's just that these 70s radars are really has really high blind speeds. As you see, it's like 500 kilometers per hour or something like that. So yeah, it's really bad, and you have to think about that when you are trying to lock somebody and the guy is just running away from you, or notching you or something like that. As you see below this, it would be a minus 1476. This is when the target is actually running away from you. Okay, so basically if it's below this, he's running away from you, and if it's above this line, he's coming towards you depending on the speed. The more upwards he is, faster he's coming towards you, and the more low the line of the target is, the faster he's running away from you. Okay, and as I said before, this is the blind speed. So this is general speed below 0 or close to 0 kilometers per hour that the target is blind to the radar. Okay, you cannot just do anything. This is like really old school pull stopper stuff. Like he really needs to have a velocity to actually show, So if he's like flying in just on same speed as you, the radar will have difficulties trying to lock you, the target. So yeah, this is pretty cool. If I accelerate, for example, as you see, it's basically the same speed, and he's in the blind speed, so I don't see the target there. So yeah, as you see, of course, is relative to you. So yeah, as I'm approaching him, he appears on this part because I'm approaching him with very high speeds. The more speed that I have, the greater this will be. Okay, and of course, we still have the bore sight mode, the BST pulse Doppler, of course, and we have the vertical one as well. Come on, vertical. He's trying to lock. Yeah, the vertical one, pulse Doppler, the same as before, but with pulse Doppler. And this is the normal pulse Doppler that we are normally used to see on aircraft like the Vegan and aircraft like the EJK. So it has a normal pulse Doppler mode that it can actually detect the distance of the target. As I'm going to show later, the F4J, for example, or the F4M and the F4K, the British ones, they don't have this mode. They just have the pulse Doppler vertical. Okay, and this can be a little bit difficult to understand sometimes, but it's just remember that it's the difference different speed that you are approaching the target or not. And this is just a normal pull stopper, okay? You will have the blind speeds as the normal one. As you see, I'm not detecting him because he's too low of the blind speed. But once you get it to a certain speed, I actually can detect him and I can try to lock him. And yeah, I think, I don't know if it's a bug, but sometimes I cannot get a STT pull stopper lock on the normal pull stopper. I don't know if this is a feature or not, but might be a bug. But for example, the F4 cannot do this, so even though it uses the other mode, but it cannot do this, so it might be a feature. But this is just a normal pull stopper that you're going to see. Of course, it is using the the Doppler effect to actually detect the targets and basically filter out everything else. So as you see, it doesn't have in either of these modes. They don't have the ground clutter. Remember, this green line is not ground clutter, is the blind speeds, and this doesn't have the blind speeds, but they are there still. It's just that the way that it works is showing the distance is and not the velocity, but they are there. And we have the TWS, the final mode, of course, one of the main modes for the Phoenix missile. And it is pretty interesting. Basically, it is pull stopper, okay? So it will have problems with notching and stuff like that. And basically, it's doing a soft lock on the target. It's just searching for the target while sometimes updating where the target is for the radar, okay? So the way it works, I mean, you're going to just turn it on. As you see, it's in normal mode. It doesn't have a lock, but then when you go to TWS, automatically it gets that soft lock there, and you can get the little icon there on where he is and what he's doing. And what do? You don't want to lock the target as you normally do. If you select the target and click the lock button, it will go automatically to the pulse Doppler tracking. Of course, being the single tracking thing, the STT, this would make you only able to track on target. As you see, we still have the blind speeds, of course, on the TWS, but the way that it works and the best way to use this is actually to select the target, and with the Phoenix selected, and you're just going to click on the button to warm the missile up. And as you see, it's going to select the target and the missile will be fired there, and it's updating for the Phoenix until he's ready to go full lock. If you want to just keep the lock there, it's fine. It's going to be better, but you can lose the lock and it will hit the target as well if it's in range and of course in the sight of the Phoenix missile. As you're going to see, yeah, I'm detecting him. The same thing. I'm just going to select the target there and click the button to launch the missile. You just select and launch. If there is many targets, you're going to select each one of them right there, and you just point the aircraft where you want, and the missile will go there. Of course, this only works for the Phoenix. Don't do this with the M7. You will need a hard lock for the M7 to work, but this is basically where you're going to do. You're not going to try to do single track with the Phoenix. It is the start of the match, for example. You're going to climb, take off, climb, use the TWS. This would be the best mode ever, to the best way to use it. With the Phoenix, 4 Phoenix or 2 Phoenix, whatever you want, you're going to climb, use the TWS to launch early match 4 Phoenixes in 4 targets as fast as you can, and just maintain the target. Take off your speed and just maintain there with the TWS. Try to kill everything else from long range, and then after that you can, if you get 1, 2, 3 kills, even 4 kills, nice. And then after that you can get into the dogfights with the Sparrow and the M9H. This would be the perfect tactic in my opinion, and I think it's, yeah, just the way that the F14 is supposed to be working. That way you can actually destroy some of the early jets that are taking off. So yeah, let's just show a little bit on the F4J just to show that it's similar to that, the radar. And we are here in the F4 just to show to you guys really quickly how it works. Of course, you have this normal search mode with the ground clutter, you see, and we have the PDV. So yeah, and the blind speeds are there. So yeah, it's the same as the F4J, that mode, and it is one of the best modes together with the normal pull stopper. I just like this mode because you can actually know where the blind speeds are, and the way that you're going to fire the M7s on the F14 will be the same as in the F4. You need a hard lock and just launch the missile and you are fine. So yeah, basically very similar. Everything else is very similar to the F4. It's just a better radar, you know, but everything else is just the same. Okay. And just one thing that before we go, guys. So yeah, the way that that mode is selected, that mode for selection on the target that you want. We are in the normal live server here, but you need to have the controls, you know, first, and you go for, let me search for it. Here, horizontal radar, IRST, target kill control axis, vertical radar, etc. So left, right, down, up. For example, I use the normal arrows in my keyboard, and you just have to put it like this. You're going to have as relative control, as you see. And yeah, it is important to have in relative control. And then you go for options and air battles, and you take this off. So target cyclic switching of aircraft radar. Go for no in here. This will make the radar so that you can actually select what you are trying to lock. Okay? So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and bye guys. Subscribe.